In the skies over Germany. The ship's horn blasted our departure from the dock, and more soldiers joined in the singing. Dottie and Viv didn't notice me gripping the rail of the ship with white knuckles as I tried to tether myself to reality. I was desperate to quell the feeling of panic that was bubbling up inside me. I shook my head back and forth, blinking a few times. When I looked up again, I realized that the soldier I could have sworn was Danny bore only a passing resemblance to him. He was tall and blonde like Danny, but with sharp, angular features that were nothing like my fiancé's. It was a hot July day in New York City, and the ocean air was tainted with the smell of diesel, cigarettes, and cheap cologne. I don't know if it was the humidity that made the atmosphere feel heavy, or the emotions of the hundreds of soldiers on the ship with us, jumping up and down, yelling their final goodbyes before heading off to war. Some of the women in the crowds below had started to cry, clutching their handkerchiefs and straining to capture these last glimpses of their beloved sons, brothers, and sweethearts so they could remember them in the months to come. I felt grief in the pit of my stomach, grief that I had managed to push down for the past few months. But now that we were bound for Europe, it all came bubbling to the surface. Oh God, I thought, what if this whole thing is an enormous mistake? I felt my face flush and thought I might throw up. I tugged on Dottie's arm. Viv was charming some of the men standing next to us with a story about learning to play ping pong during our recent training in D.C. "I've got to find a bathroom," I said into Dottie's ear. "I'm feeling a little ill." "Sheesh, it's kinda early to be seasick, Fiona," Dottie said. "We haven't even left the harbor yet. Fiona? Fiona!" Dottie called after me as I moved as fast as I could through the throngs of GIs, my hand over my mouth. I heard greetings of, "Hey, doll," and "What's the matter, Freckles?" from the dozens of men I pushed past. A couple of them graciously asked if I was okay. I finally found a bathroom tucked into the space underneath the stairs to an upper deck. I slammed the door behind me and locked it, taking another deep breath as I splashed water on my face. In the small round mirror, I looked even paler than usual, making the freckles across my nose more prominent. I adjusted the pins on my new cap and smoothed down my newly shorn shoulder-length hair. It was only then I noticed my hands were shaking. I opened the tiny porthole above the toilet to let in some air and sank to the floor. I didn't throw up, but for the first time in many months, I began to cry. In March, I had let Viv and Dottie drag me to the Saturday matinee of Jane Eyre starring Orson Welles and Joan Fontaine. It had always been one of my favorite novels, so I reluctantly agreed to go. Before the movie started, we watched a short newsreel. The words, "Now more than ever, your Red Cross is at his side," flashed across the screen, with a familiar picture of a soldier standing next to a woman in a Red Cross uniform, the same one I was wearing today. It was followed by footage of Red Cross Clubmobile girls serving the troops all over Europe. There was a trio of these girls in Italy, and then more footage of them in North Africa, happily serving coffee and donuts to soldiers out of a converted truck. There were other scenes of these women playing records and dancing the jitterbug with GIs against the backdrop of blown-out buildings. A voiceover began. "Our Red Cross Clubmobile girls must be single, college graduates, and over the age of 25. They are hand-picked for their looks, education, and personality. They are hardy physically and have a sociable, friendly manner." Seeing those women, traveling, directly helping the war effort, had stirred something in me that I hadn't felt since Danny had gone missing. It was a combination of hope and exhilaration. That feeling you have before the first day of college, or when starting a new job. The newsreel had seemed like a sign from above. Maybe I could do something real in the war effort, other than assemble care packages at the local USO. Volunteering for the Red Cross could be a way to honor Danny. And more than anything, it was a plan, a way forward, a way to try to find out what had happened.